One of the greatest Premier League players of all time switched to management after retiring as a legend. But years down the line, his most remarkable achievement didn't end up being a trophy. Instead, he became a bit of a meme. We're talking about the one and only Frank Lampard. He recently came back into management as Coventry City's boss in November 2024. This is the first time he is managing a club since his infamous second stint at Chelsea. Another memorable moment was that touchline clash between him and Klopp, which had the fans rolling on the floor. He didn't leave a mark as a manager, but definitely had his moments. That's why today we're going to talk about the management years of Lampard. It's interesting because he's the perfect case study for inexperienced ex-players being given huge shoes to fill. When he was first appointed as Chelsea's boss in 2019, it was a bit unexpected, really. He'd only managed Derby County for a single season before this offer came in. It was a gigantic step up that came with claims of a biased appointment and not the most suitable one. Even with so many experienced managers available on the market, a trend of choosing ex-players without much managerial experience was catching on. This sparked a hot debate on social media back then. Are ex-players overrated managerial appointments? As the Chelsea legend took his place at the helm, the fans desperately wanted him to succeed. The media cast doubt over the risky appointment and the expectations were kept in check. But a transfer ban on the club meant he wouldn't be getting any new players in. However, we're talking about Chelsea, so of course he had plenty of talent at his disposal already. He chose to put faith in talented youngsters and academy graduates, which was appreciated by the fans as well. The transfer ban and the manager's lack of high-level experience had lowered the bar of expectations put on him. But he ended up exceeding them in the very first season with a decent 4th place finish. Sarri ball used to get a fair few groans from fans because of the patient style of play in possession. Lampard switched this up to a high pressing style with fluid attacking movements and a much higher intensity overall. The fans loved it. What followed was an underwhelming second season, an ill-fated move to Everton, and then back to Chelsea as the caretaker manager for a short spell. But the Chelsea legend never failed to try his best and definitely earned some respect. This is Lampard's story after retiring. He is one of the most celebrated figures in English football and one of Chelsea's greatest ever legends. He ended his trophy-filled playing career in 2016, leaving the Premier League with a new benchmark for midfielders. He's remembered for his incredible goal-scoring ability from midfield, which was unprecedented at the time for his position. Lampard was synonymous with Chelsea's golden era and became their all-time leading goal scorer with 211 goals. Out of these, 177 were Premier League goals. To try and give you a bit of context about how insane that number truly is, here's a wild fact. He ranks above Thierry Henry on the Premier League all-time leading goal scorer list. A 3-time Premier League champion and Champions League winner, Lampard had tremendous ball striking ability. But it was his football IQ on the pitch which suggested he could one day channel that into management. But the question was, could he replicate his playing success with the same club as the manager? After a brief period of playing in Major League Soccer with New York City FC, he retired as a player and turned his focus to management. The first job was as Chelsea's youth coach for a year. His pedigree as a footballer carried a lot of weight, but like any aspiring manager, he would have to prove his tactical knowledge and man management ability. Lampard took his first managerial role in July 2018 with Derby County. It was a championship side with a rich history which had fallen on harder times and limited success. He was tasked with returning the club to their previous glories. The first order of business was to bring in young talents such as Mason Mount and Harry Wilson. Lampard's reputation and contacts allowed the club to attract these players. From the very beginning, the manager showed an inclination for blending youngsters with experienced players. This would become a hallmark of his managerial approach in the following seasons. The team played dynamic, attacking football, with Mount and Wilson flourishing under the former maestro's guidance. They finished 6th in the championship and secured a spot in the promotion playoffs for the Premier League. Derby then staged a thrilling comeback against Leeds United in the playoff semi-finals. They overturned a first leg deficit to reach the final against Villa. A lot of the neutral viewers wanted to see the underdog win, but they fell short against Villa at Wembley, and the inspiring story was cut short. But Lampard's debut season as a manager was widely regarded as a success. His ability to inspire his players and implement an attractive style of play earned him a lot of well-deserved praise. He was marked as an exciting manager to keep an eye on. In July 2019, Chelsea turned to their former player to lead the team as head coach. It was a bold and controversial move. The club was facing a transfer ban, and their star player, Eden Hazard, had left to fulfill his dreams in Madrid. This was a transitional period for the club, and the board were well aware of this. Lampard was seen as the ideal figure to steer the club through muddy waters. They wanted someone who bled blue to help stabilise the restless atmosphere. The manager's first season at Chelsea was a roller coaster ride. Without any new signings, the club's academy products had to be relied on. Lampard was responsible for the likes of Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, Reece James, Fikayo Tomori, and Billy Gilmore's integration into the first team. This faith in the youth talents paid massive dividends. Chelsea finished 4th in the Premier League, securing Champions League football for the following season. They also reached the FA Cup final to face another ex-player who was managing for his former club, Arsenal. It was a final between two novices, but Arteta ended up winning his first and only true major trophy to this day. But this FA Cup final was a crossroads for both young managers. A different result that day might have led to a very different trajectory for both clubs. The defensive issues of the team were evident, with Chelsea conceding 54 goals in the league, the most of any team in the top half. While Lampard's attacking philosophy was clear and exciting to watch, questions were raised about his ability to organise a solid defensive unit. There were ups and downs throughout his tenure. Here's a few things that worked under Lampard. The manager's reliance on academy graduates reinvigorated Chelsea's squad. Players like Mount and James became integral parts of the team and eventually blossomed into top quality talents. He demonstrated tactical flexibility, often switching formations to suit his team's strengths. In his second season, with new signings like Timo Werner, Havertz and Thiago Silva, they started well and were briefly on top of the table in December 2020. But then, it all came crashing down. Chelsea's defensive organisation remained a weak point throughout his reign. As his tenure progressed, Lampard's inability to establish a consistent playing style came under scrutiny. With Chelsea's lavish spending in the summer of 2020, expectations also skyrocketed. The team's poor form during a crucial period led to questions being asked about Lampard's ability to handle pressure at such a high level. Chelsea's 2019-20 season was commendable given the circumstances, but the 2020-21 campaign quickly got exposed. A promising start gave way to a huge dip in form, with the team slipping out of the top 4 by January 2021. 4 days later, Chelsea parted ways with the club legend, a decision that ultimately divided fans. While his tactical shortcomings were evident, many felt he deserved more time to develop as a manager. That being said, Lampard left Chelsea having laid a foundation for future success. His promotion of youth players and emphasis on attacking football gave Chelsea a new identity. It was a commendable job in the end, even if his inexperience occasionally showed. In January 2022, Lampard returned to management with Everton. A club battling relegation decided to go with a manager who had less than 3 years of total experience. Tasked with steadying the ship, he brought renewed energy to Goodison Park. Initially, his impact was a positive one and things were looking up. But Everton only dramatically avoided relegation at the end of the 21-22 season. They had a stunning comeback victory over Crystal Palace to secure their Premier League survival. But the 22-23 season was a completely different story. Everton's struggles in front of goal and defensive fragility persisted, leaving them entrenched in the relegation zone for much of the campaign. Lampard's tactics came under fire, and by January 2023, Everton had won just 3 league games. Lampard was inevitably sacked, and he left Everton exactly how he found them. Just 3 months later, Lampard returned to Chelsea in April 2023 as interim manager following the dismissal of Graham Potter. He was given a chance to raise his reputation in management, but it was an uphill battle. Chelsea were in utter chaos, sitting mid-table in the Premier League and lacking a sense of unity. Unfortunately, this second stint was marked by poor results. The team won just one of their remaining league games and finished 12th in the league. This was Chelsea's worst league position in decades. Lampard's return was somewhat nostalgic, but also highlighted the challenges of managing a club in total chaos. After some time away from the game, he found a new opportunity in November 2024, taking the reins at Coventry City in the Championship. This move signalled a return to his roots, managing a team outside the Premier League with long-term ambitions of promotion. At Coventry, Lampard's task is clear: to rebuild his managerial reputation and guide the club towards sustained success. The Championship is a demanding league, but Lampard's experiences at Derby, Chelsea and Everton should have prepared him for the challenges ahead. From his promising start at Derby County to the pressures of managing Chelsea and the struggles at Everton, Lampard's career reflects the unpredictability of football management. While his path has been far from smooth sailing, his commitment to the game and ability to bounce back from setbacks shows promise. Getting a job because you know the boss does not make you a great worker. Similarly, Lampard's jump from Derby to Chelsea after just one season probably wasn't the right step for him. But he has been given a chance to do it over. He's back to square one, and this time, he should be much more adamant to prove his worth as a manager. Do you think he can gradually build Coventry City up to fight for promotion by next season? What about his Chelsea tenure? Do you think he was given enough time to prove himself? Let us know below.